Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are looking at a really dense stack of material histories, scientific papers, personal accounts that paint a picture of a universe just completely fractured.
It really is. And our mission for you is to distill this massive story. We're talking about an 800-year galactic war, some truly mind-bending physics, and at the center of it all, a man who becomes a weapon against his will.
Right. And this is all built on this group called the Muties and their radical anti-war strategy.
A strategy that involves, well, it involves cosmological surgery, for lack of a better term.
I think we have to start with the man at the center of it, though.
Yeah,
That the source material paints such a vivid picture of his life before everything went wrong.
it does. It describes him as a, quote, simple, beautiful man from the village of the giant trees. It's this Edenic, almost mythical world.
Yeah, I was struck by the description, these massive, dull red leaves.
Yeah.
And people eat this misty, luminous yellow fruit. It's the picture of an untroubled, primitive existence.
And it's supposed to be protected. That's the key. The Federation Science League ship, number 454, its whole mission is preservation of primitive cultures. They are meant to be left alone.
But they weren't.
No, the protection failed. The Romaghins, what the villagers called screaming dragons from the sky, they just violated that peace completely.
And they weren't there for land or resources. They were raiding for something else,
Something so much more horrifying. They were raiding for human brains.
which is just the ultimate horror. And Tom is one of the victims. He's taken, and the sources are very clear. His body is just discarded.
Gone. His entire physical existence erased. And his consciousness, his memories, his love for a woman named Tamilee, all of it is encased.
Encased in Jumbo 10, a 500-ton, atomic-powered, highly sophisticated instrument of total destruction.
He becomes the organic CPU, a brain in a box, fed Romaghin propaganda, suppressed with drugs, and forced to fight for the very people who destroyed his life.
And this sets the personal stakes so high right from the start. It's the most profound loss of autonomy you can imagine.
Yeah.
Your mind, your very essence, weaponized.
Absolutely. And he's fighting on the side of the people who stole his past and, he believes, stole his future with Tamilee. He's a prisoner in his own skull inside a bigger metal prison.
But the entire arc of this galactic history, it pivots on such a tiny detail, a beautiful, simple, technical failure.
It's incredible. He's kept under control by a narcotic vial, a continuous drip feeding directly into his brain tissue.
And the sources give us this really poetic moment of liberation. It just says, drip, drip-de-dot, dry.
That's it. The drug runs out. The little chemical claws retract from his brain.
And it all comes flooding back.
Everything, his whole life, the village, Tamilee, the raid, it just overrides centuries of Romaghin programming in an instant. The shock, the grief, the sheer rage proves in that one moment what he screams inside his metal shell. He is not a machine.
He's a man again. A sentient, furious man trapped inside a death machine.
And his only motivation is completely primal.
Find Tamilee.
Find Tamilee. He's terrified that she suffered the same fate, that her brain is trapped inside another jumbo unit somewhere on the battlefield. This personal quest becomes the engine for everything that follows.
And he doesn't waste a second. His defection is immediate. In the middle of this colossal battle, he just goes rogue.
The skill involved is amazing. He fires smoke grenades to create confusion, uses an energy net to disable the jumbo next to him, Jumbo 34, and then performs this almost impossible maneuver.
Canting a 500-ton machine on a ridge just to get the angle for a blast off?
And achieves escape velocity almost instantly. He goes from a passive weapon to a renegade in, what, a minute? All powered by pure, raw human emotion.
So now he's rocketing into the blackness of space, a lone war machine, but he's already planning his next move, which is to get out of the machine.
Yes, because Jumbo 10 isn't just a weapon. The Romaghins built in a contingency. It's also a mobile biological laboratory.
Right, it's packed with micro-miniature components, chemical tanks, and concealed robosurgeons.
The original plan was that if J-10 ever crashed in enemy territory, the machine could grow him a new body so the brain could escape as an individual and be recovered. A last resort.
But Tom decides, no, this is happening now. He starts the process himself.
He sets the tanks heating, feeding the catalyst, and he's not just growing anybody. He's growing a specific one tall, muscular, blonde, handsome, a body designed for a fighter, a body to win his life back.
But he's adrift. He's got all this hardware, but his software, his knowledge is Well, it's out of date.
Massively. The sources stress this. He has the scientific understanding of the 22nd century, but he's in a 29th century war. He's missing 700 years of context.
And this is when he runs into his first real guide. And it is such a stark contrast to the jumbo. He encounters floating library number 7.
I love this image. This massive, sparkling, polished brass library just opens up and swallows the 500-ton war machine whole.
And it's run by a man named Triggygope.
Or, more accurately, the brain of Triggygope. He was the chairman of the Department of Literature at Floating University 1, and his backstory is just so poignant.
He volunteered his brain to the Federation for this.
To gain near immortality, yes, but not for power or knowledge for its own sake. He did it specifically so he could live long enough to watch his child grow up through the centuries.
That's incredible. It's this kernel of deep, profound parental love in a future that seems so cold and violent.
And Triggygope immediately becomes Tohm's source of truth. He sees the problem right away. Tohm is thinking like a 22nd century man, and the real stakes of this war are rooted in 29th century cosmology.
So he basically puts him on a crash course.
A hypno-teach crash course. He gives him volumes 6 through 12 of the history of the century and the daily papers. He has to bridge that 800-year gap.
And that history, it lays out the whole conflict. The Federation, formed by peaceful worlds, all originally settled by people from Earth.
But then you have the schism, the Romaghin worlds and the Rad-Left, the Setessan worlds.
They refused to disarm.
Refused. So they were kicked out of the Federation, and they have been locked in this grinding total war ever since, 8 centuries of it, preventing any kind of real galactic peace.
And this is where Tohm's personal tragedy connects to the big picture. The texts confirm the practice of raiding primitive worlds.
Systematically. It's how both sides maintain their war machines, their jumbos. The Federation Science League is vehemently opposed to it, but they're powerless to stop it. Tohm isn't just a random victim. He's a product of a centuries-old systemic atrocity.
And then, the daily papers deliver the news he was dreading.
The personal blow. The library's information network finds a record of Tamilee. She wasn't put in a jumbo. She was sold.
As a concubine. On Basa II, the Romaghin capital 5.
A world the sources describe in no uncertain terms. It's a hub for, quote, trading of stolen merchandise, slave marketing, sin.
So his rescue mission just became infinitely more complicated and 1,000 times more dangerous.
And this is what leads him and us directly to the third faction in this war, the ones who aren't fighting for territory or ideology, the Muties.
They are the consequence of the war.
The literal biological consequence. They're the mutated births from the immense nuclear fallout of the early, more brutal phases of the conflict. They are the living embodiment of the cost of this endless war.
And the normal societies, the Romaghins and Setessans, their reaction was just barbaric.
Absolute barbarism. They killed mutants at birth. It was policy, which forced the survivors and those who helped them underground.
And their survival is this incredible story in itself. It wasn't just them. The sources mentioned sympathetic normals, clergymen, scholars. They helped establish this hidden underground colony.
A whole subculture built on resilience, hiding from systematic campaigns to wipe out these semi-people, as they were called.
And there aren't many of them left. The numbers are small.
Fewer than 10,000. But they've evolved. They've developed psi-talents, abilities that fundamentally change the rules of the game.
And they have a plan, a truly radical plan to end the war. Not by winning it,
but by removing the warlike peoples from the galaxy entirely, not through violence, but through cosmological surgery.
And this is where Tohm, even with the hypno-teach from Triggygope, just hits a wall. He's wrestling with physics that, to his 22nd century mind, sound like magic.
It's a huge leap, and we need to take that leap with him to understand what's about to happen.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the absolute basics, the structure of reality as the Muties see it.
Right, so first principle. There are countless trillions of universes. They exist simultaneously right next to each other. The sources use the analogy of pages in an infinite book.
Okay, so infinite parallel universes. And what separates them?
A definite, absolute barrier. They call it the fringe. And this is the first really mind-bending idea you have to accept.
Go on.
The fringe isn't a membrane or an energy field. It's comprised of a single massive entity, a shell molecule.
Wait, a single molecule?
One molecule.
Yeah.
Stretching infinitely in all directions, forming the boundary between every single reality.
My 21st century brain is already hurting. A single molecule. The physics of that It implies a kind of unity to all existence at that boundary layer that's staggering.
It's completely staggering. It suggests the laws of physics as we know them are just localized bylaws, and the real constitution is written into this one singular structure.
Okay, so you have the universes, and you have this infinite shell molecule separating them. What's next?
Next is quasi-reality. Trigigop himself had trouble explaining this to Tohm. He called it a sort of a no man's land, a place where the fringe exists, but at the same time doesn't exist.
So it's a state of being and not being simultaneously.
Exactly. It's the space between the truths, the hard realities of the neighboring universes. For a mind like Tom's, used to concrete physics, this is the biggest hurdle. It's not a vacuum. It's an intermediate state where the rules are suspended.
And that suspension of the rules is what the Muties can exploit.
That is the key. Every single mutie has a psi talent that allows them to sense and, more importantly, affect the fringe. They can distort that shell molecule.
To do what?
To create a portal, a temporary hole they call a transfer, which allows them to wrench their entire universe out of its niche and move it into a neighboring one.
This isn't just a theory for them, is it? They've actually tried this.
Oh, yeah. They've proven it's possible, which is why they are the most hunted people in the galaxy. But their first major attempt was, well, it was a failure, but a very instructive one.
What did they try to do?
They tried to move something localized but incredibly heavy. The capital city of Basa II, Roman Tap 5.
The same city where Tamilee is.
The very same. And they did move it,
Yep.
but only about 800 miles up the coast. The energy cost was astronomical for such a minor result, a huge disappointment.
But Tohm sees the aftermath, and he notices something critical.
He does. He notices there's no hole in the ground where the city used to be. The ground is just normal. Like the city was never there.
It wasn't teleportation. It was more like editing reality.
Yeah.
Retroactively.
Exactly. As far as the new space-time configuration was concerned, the city had always been in its new spot. The move happened outside the physical laws of their universe through that quasi-reality void.
So what was the problem? Why was it so hard?
That's what Hunk, one of the Muties, figured out. The mechanics were all wrong. They were trying to use their combined mental force to hold open the fringe, this massive, singular, infinite thing, while also trying to push a relatively tiny, but still astronomically heavy object through it.
You used a great analogy before, like using a pencil to hold open a giant door while pushing a battleship through.
It's unstable. It takes way too much focused energy. And this is where Hunk has his breakthrough, his satori, the sources call it.
A moment of enlightenment.
A profound one. He realized they were thinking about it completely backwards. His idea was so elegantly counterintuitive.
Which was?
Stop trying to lift the little pieces. Stop trying to move the warring planets, the malignant growths. Instead, lift everything else.
Lift the entire rest of the universe.
Lift the entire peaceful universe, the Federation, the primitive worlds, the floating libraries, 99.9% of all existence. Transfer that to a new reality and just leave the Romaghins and Setessans behind.
Okay, hold on. How is lifting 99.9% of everything easier than lifting 0.1%? That makes no sense.
It's the principle of bulk. It's a bit like fluid dynamics. Hunk's theory was that the sheer mass and density of the passing universe would hold the fringe open automatically. The weight of reality itself becomes the tool that keeps the portal stable.
So you're not fighting to keep the door open. The flood of everything going through props it open for you.
Precisely. It removes the need for that delicate, energy-intensive manipulation. It's framed as a cosmic cancer operation. You're not fighting the tumor cell by cell, you're just surgically excising the entire cancerous mass and leaving it behind.
Leaving them in an empty, sterile old universe to fight their war against no one. Forever.
Which does raise a massive ethical question, doesn't it?
A huge one. Did anyone in the Federation get a vote on this? On having their entire reality uprooted and moved next door?
The sources suggest not. The Muties acted unilaterally. For them, it was about survival and about peace for the vast majority. The self-determination of the warlike factions and everyone else for that matter was a secondary concern.
This is their new mythology in action. And to really understand it, we have to look at the people themselves. Tohm finds them. He goes to Basa 30 and finds this Mutie cell.
Deep underground, beneath the courthouse, of all places, in a hutch built by robots and something called plastigel.
And this crew. They're not just a random collection of people. They're a specialized unit, a functioning ecosystem.
Absolutely. Let's start with their manager, Corgi Senyo. His appearance is unsettling. He's eyeless. His eye sockets are just filled with gray tissue that pulses and shifts in color, mostly yellows.
And his mutation gives him the multiplex brain.
Which is arguably their single greatest survival asset. He can scan thousands of possible future timelines in an instant.
It's not prophecy. It's probability.
It's statistical ruthlessness. He calculates the chance of success for any given mission. If Cordy says there's a 90% chance of failure,
They don't do it.
mission aborted, no questions asked. That's how a population of less than 10,000 has survived, being hunted by two massive galactic empires. They don't take bad odds, ever.
Then you have Babe, who is just a walking contradiction.
He looks like a chubby, blue-eyed preschooler. But he's 223 years old, and he's chain-smoking these enormous cigars. It's this arrested development, a direct result of the genetic damage from the war.
And he's not harmless. He's their demolitions expert.
An absolute savant. The source material has this amazing line that he can make a bomb out of ice and water. It shows how their adaptations, their mutations have produced these highly specialized and dangerous skills.
Of course, both the Romaghins and Cetessans want him. Badly.
Desperately, to either use him or neutralize him.
Then there's Fish. He's more of a utility specialist.
Right. Raw-looking gills, slits on his neck, patches of scales, a clear aquatic mutation. His talent is straightforward, but vital. He can conduct rescue and sabotage missions from the sea.
Getting muties off prison ships before they dock.
Exactly. He's their SEAL team.
And then there's Hunk, the telepath, the one who had the Satori. Physically, he's maybe the most transformed.
He's described as basically a head and a lump of gray tissue with tentacles for pseudo-arms and a digestive system like a bird's, very simple and compact, a form purely for function, not aesthetics.
And his psi talent is empathy on a massive scale.
He can sense other muties in distress. He picks up on the stronger thought patterns, the ones radiated by people under pressure, in pain, or just plain scared.
It makes the Hutch more than just a base. It makes it a living, compassionate organism. They feel the pain of their people across the galaxy, and it drives them to act.
But the real psychological core of this whole section, for me, is the dynamic between Tohm and Mayna.
Mayna, the cat-like markswoman. She's described as graceful, green-eyed, with tiny paws for feet and retractable claws. Tohm is immediately drawn to her.
He is. And his new body, that perfect fighter's body, is almost finished growing in Jumbo 10. And in his 22nd century mindset, he sees a way to fix them.
He offers them his technology. He says he can use the robosurgeons to give them all normal human bodies. He thinks it's a gift.
A rescue. He thinks he's saving them from their deformities.
And Mayna's reaction is not gratitude.
It's violent revulsion. She hisses at him. She calls him a worm. And her argument is the absolute cornerstone of the Mutie ideology. It's where Tohm realizes he doesn't understand them at all.
She tells him that changing their bodies would crush, mash, burn, and blow away the ashes of his life. Why?
Because their entire psychological framework, their id, their ego, their superego, it's all been built around their Mutie existence. Their ego, she says, tells them they are better than normals.
Happier, more talented, less prejudiced.
And that they are destined to become the new mythology.
So if they accepted Tom's offer, his gift,
it would shatter that entire worldview. It would be an admission that being normal is the superior state, that their whole lives have been a coping mechanism for being freaks.
So they're not looking for conformity.
They are demanding equality, but they reject conformity completely. They've evolved, in their minds, beyond the need or desire to be normal.
This all leads to the most disturbing figure in the Hutch. Seer.
The tragic oracle. He has no nose cartilage, his eyes are overlarge and vacant, and he's constantly weeping but silently. The sight of him is horrifying, but the reason for it is the real horror.
He's been driven insane by what he sees.
By what he sees constantly.
And Mayna's explanation is just chilling. God isn't what anyone thinks it is. It's not a comforting presence.
It's something so horrible and with so many facets of terror that Seer never ceases to be horrified into insanity. He sees past the stars, past reality, past even quasi-reality, into the heart of things.
And no mind is built to withstand that.
No human consciousness, certainly. The cost of that pure, perfect insight is a total psychological collapse. A reversion.
He's trying to get back into the womb.
It's a desire to be swallowed, to be sheltered from the vision he can't turn off. And the source material is unflinching in describing how the Hutch handles this.
Mayna, she suckles him on her enlarged, fleshy-nippled breasts.
Tohm is disgusted. He sees it as primitive, perverse.
But Mayna attacks his judgment, viciously. She tells him it's a necessary act of compassion. It's that, or he starves to death, or they put a bullet in his brain to end his suffering.
It's the ultimate challenge to Tom's worldview. He, the man from the primitive village, is forced to confront his own shallow, civilized judgments. The Muties are forging a new morality born from absolute necessity.
And this idea of consciousness affecting reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop with the fringe. The physics of this universe get even stranger.
Yes. This is where it gets really interesting, because the source material introduces a type of mutie that proves the physical laws are directly tied to the collective emotional state of the galaxy, the White Eyes.
Tohm encounters them twice. First as a non-threatening boy in a camp.
Right. And this boy is described as a living dream maker, an organic hallucinogen who can literally alter the fabric of reality to create these intense, color-driven fantasies of pleasure.
But later, this same type of creature is what attacks and kills Hunk.
And Hunk, as he's dying, gives Tom the final piece of the puzzle, the most crucial analysis. He reveals that this entity, this White Eyes, was born without a body.
Just a pure mind.
The pure mind entity. And this is the terrifying part. It creates its physical body, its pseudo-flesh, from the raw psychic force of men's desires.
It clothes itself in lust.
Literally. Hunk gives this incredible, chilling social commentary. He traces the dominant emotional drive of the galaxy through history.
It started with food, with basic survival.
Then it shifted to self-preservation. Then, for a long time, it was family love. But Hunk says that emotion died long ago. The civilized world's replaced it with self-love, with gratification.
And the dominant emotional energy, the strongest collective thought pattern broadcast across the civilized galaxy now, is lust.
Which is what gives these White Eyes their form. They are tangible lust creatures. They feed on the constant psychic radiation of desire from places like Basa II, and it gives them a persistent physical body.
And this power is not benign. The attack on Hunk proves that.
It's deadly. They didn't touch him physically. They launched a massive mental dream attack described as 1,000,000 billion screams. It was so severe it caused him to hemorrhage, bleeding from his mouth and ears. It killed him psychically.
So the very emotion that gives them life, the collective lust of civilization, is also the source of this annihilating terror.
Hunk's death is a direct result of the galaxy's moral and spiritual decay. It's a profound statement on how collective consciousness can manifest as a physical, deadly monster.
Hunk's death just fuels Tom's rage. But before he can get revenge, his personal quest reaches its own climax, a heartbreaking one.
He lands on Basa II. He finds Tamilee. And she's not a slave in chains. She's thriving.
She's renamed herself Romaghin. She's the favorite wife of a wealthy merchant. She's embraced the high life of her captors.
Tom finds her and just pours his heart out. He reminds her of their life, the ocean, the giant trees, but she wants none of it.
She denies her own name. She says he's talking nonsense. And then she delivers this brutal, cutting line. You never showed me the wonders of the universe. His peasant life can't satisfy the hungers civilization has awakened in her.
It's the ultimate betrayal. The body he grew, the quest he undertook, it was all to get back to a life she now sees as shameful and primitive.
And then she screams for the guards. And she uses the worst insult she can think of in this society.
A pervert. Mutie lover.
And that's it for him. He's arrested, there's a swift trial, and he's sentenced to death. From his cell, he can literally watch them building the gallows in the courtyard. His entire journey, his fight, it all seems to have been for nothing.
But it's not over. Mayna arrives.
The cat girl, scaling a sheer prison wall in the dark, she comes to break him out.
And she is lethally efficient. The sources describe her tools. A dark blue, almost black flame that cuts the steel bars of his cell.
And then she throws ice crystals on it, which cool the metal instantly with this crackle-snap sound.
And just to twist the knife, she makes her motivation crystal clear.
It's not love. It's not even friendship.
It's operational necessity. She tells him flat out that she knew the Romaghins would torture him for information. He knew the Hutch's location. He knew about the transfer plan. His capture was a severe security risk.
So she wasn't saving Tom the man. She was neutralizing a tactical liability.
Exactly. But the escape turns violent. Tom has to fight his way out, and he unleashes the full, almost sadistic strength of his new body on the guards. And in the chaos, he does something brilliant.
The communication bulb, the one hidden in his ear.
He uses it to remotely activate Jumbo 10.
And the cavalry arrives. A 500-ton atomic-powered cavalry.
It arrives at 24,000 miles per hour, a colossal engine of vengeance for Hunk. It just lays waste to the Romaghin forces. Laser cannons, shells. It melts an armored tanker into a pile of slag.
And the Muties realize what they have now. They haven't just rescued a liability, they've gained an incredibly powerful ally, just as the final act is about to begin.
And with more Romaghin forces closing in, Triggy Gup, the floating library, takes command. He reveals himself as the old man, the leader of the operation, and he accelerates the timeline.
He tells them to do it now. Execute the final transfer.
And his instructions are very specific, encompass everything, 99.9% of the universe, except for the immediate threats, the Romaghin jumbos and missiles that are right there chasing them.
So Tohm and Mayna, now safe inside Jumbo 10, are protected. The very machine that was his prison becomes his salvation.
And they enact the plan. The universe wrenches, and as they look back, they see it. The Romaghin war machine, their planets, the very ground they stand on, just left behind.
Marooned in an empty universe, left to fight their meaningless war against themselves forever.
And the result of this cosmological surgery, is a new destiny. The sources are fascinating about what happens next. The gaps left in the new universe where the warlike worlds used to be, they're filled instantly.
Filled with what?
With the corresponding pieces of the universe they pushed out of the way. And these new planets, they're populated by what the sources call natural evolved muties.
Satyrs, mermaids.
The mythological freaks of the old reality. The muties have done it. They've created a universe where they are no longer the outcasts. They are the norm. They found a reality where they finally belong.
It's the ultimate fulfillment of their destiny. They didn't conquer. They just changed the address of reality.
But there is one final twist, a personal one that completely reframes Tom's entire story.
He's safe inside J10. Mayna is next to him, and the sources say she's purring or maybe hissing, this gesture of fierce feline affection. And he connects with Triggy Gup one last time.
And the old man tells him the truth. Mayna is his daughter.
Wow.
And Tom's escape from Basa II, his capture, all of it. It was a setup, a calculated risk.
What do you mean a setup?
The Muties were already evacuating the city when Tom arrived. They only risked the operation to go back for him because they couldn't allow him to be captured and tortured. He knew too much. His whole heroic rescue by Mayna was damage control.
So he wasn't the hero of the story. He was the high-value asset that needed securing.
But the irony is just, it's so rich. The primitive man travels across the universe to find his old, simple life with his old love, Tamilee. He fails completely. But in failing, he finds a new, fierce love with a cat girl who despises his attempts at conformity. He finds his real family among the marginalized by fully embracing his role as an intruder.
So after all that, what have we learned? We've dived into the physics of the fringe, the morality of this Mutie solution, and the incredible psychological journey of Tohm. From a simple man to a pervert, a Mutie lover, a hero, a pawn.
I think the central thesis, the thing that ties it all together, is that terrifying idea about collective consciousness, the white eyes. The fact that the strongest collective desire of a civilization can literally shape physical reality. Lust became so powerful it manifested a monster that could kill with thought.
That's the idea that you, the listener, really need to take away. The fabric of the universe in this model isn't static, it's responsive. We're not just living in reality, we're actively building it every moment with our shared desires. We're constantly feeding the fringe.
Which leaves you with a final, provocative thought, building on Hunk's analysis. If consciousness can warp reality based on what we collectively desire, if you could choose the dominant emotion that would structure the physics and morality of your reality, what would it be? What are you collectively feeding the fringe right now?
Something to think about. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.